It's honestly such a shame that this series right here, Uncle from Another World, Isekai Oji-san as the Japanese title, is locked in Netflix jail. And I've talked about this topic extensively, to just how it's harmed so many different series and discussion around series. I mean, JoJo Part 6 is a fine example to how much Netflix can mess up the overall popularity and discussion of a series. Because, let's be honest, JoJo's almost as popular can get, at least in the anime community. JoJo is something that everybody at least recognizes because of memes, etc. And the fact that Part 6, when it came out, like the first half, or like Part 1 of Part 6 came out, and there was basically no discussion about it, like maybe a day later after it came out in a batch release, basically showed how Netflix's way of releasing anime can really just kill a popularity for a story, a series, in discussion, etc. And it quickly dwindles and dies. And obviously there is exceptions to this. There's some series that obviously can beat this, circumvent this, and, excel. But when it comes to anime format, especially for those that are, active watchers of anime that love to watch episode by episode, it really kills, like the hype that can be generated from these stories. And the fact that Uncle from Another World is, on Netflix, like, Netflix jail, it sucks because I feel like the popularity of this series would be just so much larger than it is if it wasn't stuck on Netflix. Now, there is a few things I do want to say, is that Netflix did release the first episode. Like you can see here, the first episode just came out today. Literally, upon me recording right this second, today, Netflix released the first episode. And so they're 3 weeks behind. And it's just like, let's be honest here. If you're going to get into Uncle from Another World, you're not going to wait for Netflix to release those episodes, which goes back into the whole, Netflix jail discussion. But it's still better than making us wait maybe 6 months for the whole batch release of, let's say, Uncle from Another World. But it's still, Netflix has a lot to do and a lot to fix before I think that they're finally in a good position to actually release anime. I mean, hell, we know Netflix's experiencing troubles. I mean, they lost like 1 million subscribers in the first quarter of this year. I think that says enough about how much trouble Netflix is currently in, and so they definitely need to change up their format. And I hope that maybe some of the struggles they're facing might do so. But anyways, let's dive headfirst into this episode of Isekai Oji-san, or Uncle from Another World. Now, if this is your first time ever hearing me talk about the series, or the first video you've seen on the series, etc., I highly recommend, 100%, I highly recommend you to watch this. There's currently, as you can see here, 3 episodes out. It is a fantastic anime. I would say it's probably my favorite show from this anime season that is not a continuation. Like, if I'm not counting continuations, like, like season 2s, 3s, or 4s, or whatever, I will say Isekai Oji-san is my favorite. It is such a fun series, and this episode in particular definitely hit a lot of things that made me emotional. I mean, one thing is just what you have on screen here. I've been showing on screen. This is obviously an Attack on Titan reference. Like, straight up, if you were to, put, a scene of Attack on Titan side by side, this is literally Attack on Titan. Now, obviously, they're standing on the rooftops. You can see, the architecture that looks very similar to, Attack on Titan. You see the wall, which that's already a dead giveaway. And then obviously see the little minifigures down here, which is basically like Colossal Titans or Titans. And then the figure up above, which if you've watched the latest season of Attack on Titan's anime, that's basically, the main founding Titan kind of controlling everything. So it's just I love this little reference. This is a really nice reference. Obviously, it's very obvious to get, but stuff like this, I always love in anime, just seeing these little types of references. But let's get into the meat of what this episode was and why I think this was a really good episode. So one thing in particular that really hit was definitely this scene where basically the main character, the uncle, he asks his viewers to subscribe. And you know what? I want to do the same. Could you guys subscribe? Okay, but, jokes aside, or cringy, little, saying subscribe out of the way, I really got emotional to the scene. No puns, nothing. This legitimately is an emotional scene. And the reason for that is because as a YouTuber, as a content creator, I heavily relate with this episode for a variety of reasons. For one, obviously, the situation, at least the main drama of this episode, is that the uncle, he legitimately, his channel's about to get demonetized. And obviously, I think everybody knows what demonetization is, or monetization, at least for YouTube standards, or Twitch, etc. It's like, if you don't have monetization, you don't make money from making videos. And I know a lot of people in a perfect world like to think that you don't need monetization and all that, don't worry about it, just make videos. But a lot of times, when content creators make videos, they put a lot of money into making videos, or they put a lot of time, passion, effort, and obviously, they can dedicate a lot of time to making videos if they do get paid through ads, etc., while they upload those videos, and it allows them to fully focus on that. But if they don't get paid, they obviously have to find other means to get money, because if they don't make money for that, they have to work, they have to make money, or they're not going to have a place, they're not going to have internet, electricity, water, etc. So obviously there has to be a way to make money. And so the whole drama is around something that is very relatable for content creators. Obviously, I think the structure of this episode, not everybody's going to be able to fully understand this episode. I think this will definitely hit if you're a content creator. And it hits me very hard, because I understand the plight of the character here, basically the uncle, is because his channel's relatively small. He is someone that, needs 1,000 subscribers. He's someone that needs over 4,000, watch time hours, and if he doesn't get that, his channel will be just fully demonetized. And this actually is what happened on YouTube. Legitimately, the struggle of this episode, of what goes on with the uncle, is actually what happened in real life. There was so many people, so many channels on YouTube that were demonetized and basically thrown to the wolves, never to be seen again, because of what YouTube did with some of its YouTube partnership program changes. And this entire episode is basically like that. That, obviously there were so many YouTubers that were not able to find their niche, to not be able to get an active following, and eventually they were just crushed and they had to give up. And I will say, as someone that is a YouTuber, it's much harder to grow now, especially if you are a smaller YouTuber. It's almost, not entirely, but almost impossible to really grow as a small content creator nowadays. I mean, yes, there's niches and things you can fill, and there is definitely, things that can be out of the ordinary, and there can be people that just blow up out of nowhere. But overall, I think in terms of how it used to be, like you go back 10 years ago, it was so much easier to really just blow up in popularity. But nowadays, it's a lot more difficult. And this was just the start of a massive change for YouTube. And I just think that this is an interesting topic that this series decided to dive into. And so, yeah, it's 100% relatable. But what also gets me about this scene, like why it makes me very emotional, is the fact that the character here, obviously, he just straight up asks his viewers, like, hey, can you guys subscribe? Hey, can you guys leave a like, etc. He asked that. And obviously, there's a lot of content creators out there that do that, such as myself. After every video, like at the end of every video, I always say that, like, hey guys, like, subscribe, comment, whatever you want to do, even leave a dislike and all that. I always say that at the beginning, or I mean at the end of a video. And obviously, back in the past, it was more of, like, a taboo to kind of really force that at the beginning of a video. Like, basically say, can you guys subscribe? Like, it was something that was not good. Like, people frowned upon it. Or at least content creators didn't really want to do it at the beginning of videos, because it felt like you were being too pushy. Like, you're product placing, etc. But sometimes showing some humility and being humble and just being, just being completely honest does wonders. Obviously, there's negatives to this, but I like what this episode paints. It shows that, yes, there's a lot of toxicity, yes, there's a lot of evil online, in the world, etc., and you'll always encounter those people that want to flame you, want to troll you, make money off of hating you, etc., and I'm definitely someone that has experienced this quite a bit over the years of being a YouTuber, and I understand both sides of the argument, but at the same time, it's so easy to paint the entirety of it in just darkness, basically like everything is bad and toxic, but there is such a bright place within the internet, and I feel like, in my personal opinion, our community that we have formed, at least, with the YouTube channel that I, upload videos on, to also my Twitter when I make posts and stuff, I feel is very positive. I feel like it is a very positive and bright environment, and I get a lot of support and feedback from all of you. And so when I see this, I 100%, this is me. This is legitimately 100% me, and I think that this is such a spectacular message, I think, for just content creators in general, but just anyone. It reminds you that, yes, the internet is a dark place sometimes, but there is some really good and wholesome things. Like, honestly, like, I legitimately started to tear up when I saw, like, this comment section. Like, when I saw this, all the comments saying, yeah, I support you, I'll subscribe or whatever, leave a comment, just this type of stuff, it made me so emotional, because this is literally me. Like, I'm not lying. Like, when I'm laying in bed and I open up my phone, I'll sit there and just scroll through comments. I'll legitimately just start scrolling through comments, reading what you guys are saying, giggling or laughing to myself, maybe 6 or 7 a.m. in the morning, or maybe late at night. I always just love seeing what you guys have to say, and this stuff, man, it really does mean a lot. The emotion in this was definitely honest and beautiful. I think there is just so much from this series, that just at least with this alone, that is so beautiful. I really haven't seen an anime be able to replicate something like this to such a degree. I really think that anyone that is, let's say, an anime content creator definitely should watch this, or just a content creator. This is a really good episode to remind people of just the fundamentals of sometimes of what it means to be a content creator. This is great. But, okay, so let's talk about a few other things. So, one thing in particular that happens is that, our main male character, the uncle, he transforms into the elf from, his isekai life, and I'm gonna be honest, my disappointment is immeasurable. I am so upset that this isn't actually the elf coming to the world, and I'm so sad, because I wanted to see the uncle have another chance, the potential to potentially have a relationship with the elf. Maybe it might happen in the future, but it saddens me so much, the fact that, he just body changed, and I was like, yeah, it's funny, and it definitely was a funny moment, but it's just so sad, and I like how innocent he is as well, like, especially with, like, the gameplay footage here. Like, let me, like this. I like how innocent the uncle is with the gameplay footage, and obviously, as people that are up to date with social norms and Twitter or, Twitch, YouTube, it's very apparent why this video of him recording as an elf female made a lot of views and money, because, let's be honest, when you have a female playing a video game, it gets more clicks. It's just how it is. It's the truth. It's 100% the truth. There's nothing wrong about that. It's the truth. And I just think it's so funny with how also this was thrown in the other side of, let's say, the internet, and how people are just more willing to click on a video, even if it's not good gameplay or doesn't even show gameplay, they're willing to click on a video if it has a pretty girl on it. And it's just like, that's funny to me. It's legitimately funny. So, just, yeah, I love a lot of the stuff in this episode. It's great. This is a really good episode, and I mean, as I keep saying, I think that if you haven't watched this series, you're really missing out. It's easily one of the best series of this anime season, and it just sucks it's in Netflix jail. But I guess I'll leave it at that. So I guess it's time for me to do my outro, since I kind of already been saying it. But if you did enjoy the video, you don't have to, subscribe or like or whatever. But I just appreciate it if you clicked on the video and you watched. If you made it to this point in the video, I greatly appreciate you guys even being able to be here. I really am thankful to have you. And with that, guys, be safe, have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Chibi out.